Welcome to this live interview. We're going to start momentarily, give the opportunity for others to listen in. I know that there's a lot of concern across our city, our country, and the world regarding the COVID-19 pandemic. We have made it our number one priority for the last few weeks to continue to do everything we can to provide the best level of service possible to the people that we serve in Los Angeles while protecting our firefighters and paramedics who run hundreds of calls per day. In fact, we average 1,350 calls per day, and we average about 600 transports to the hospital per day. So we are very concerned, as you are. The reason we're doing this is because we receive a lot of questions from the public, and we have been concentrating our communication efforts to all the members of our almost 4,000 people strong Los Angeles City Fire Department. But now I thought today was a good opportunity to share some of the information with the public so that you can have reassurance that we're doing everything we can to maintain our level of service. Let me first of all start off with an introduction. My name is Ralph Terrazas. I'm a fire chief of the Los Angeles City Fire Department with over 36 years of service to this great department. I tell the public and others in social settings, and a lot this week, that we've been through these emergencies before. We have had experience with the AIDS epidemic in the early 80s. And then we've had, of course, brush fires, earthquakes, high-rise fires. Our organization is built to respond to emergencies. So this is a different incident generator, but it's still an emergency. The questions that we've gotten have come in 5 different categories. So I'm going to go through the 5 categories and tell you what we're doing in each of those categories. The first one is, what is the current medical status of our LAFD firefighters? Thank you for the concern with this question. I'll tell you, as of about an hour ago, the report was we have 4 LAFD firefighters who are asymptomatic. They are quarantined. 2 are being released tonight, and 2 will be released in the next few days. This number is changing every day. We have daily briefings at 10 a.m. with my Department Operations Center staff. We call it the DOC. That's 7 days a week. It's staffed 24 hours a day. We don't normally activate it unless we have a large-scale emergency like we do now. So the information I give you in regards to the medical status is straight from our Department Operations Center. The second category of questions is, how have we changed our protocols to identify potential COVID-19 patients? Well, several weeks ago, we modified the questions at our 911 center to attempt to screen those patients that are likely to have COVID-19. It's difficult right now because we're in the middle of flu season, so many times, in fact most times, we never know if it was the regular flu or was this COVID-19. The only way we know for sure is when the patient takes the test in the hospital or other medical setting and the results are positive. But there's been very few times where we knew ahead of time where the patient was positive. In fact, we've only known, I believe, twice, and we responded to hundreds of potential COVID-19 patients. So what we've done is to identify through screening at the 911 center. The second thing we do, we've implemented a COVID-19 EMS protocol. We put it in a written document, and we've also videotaped what that looks like, and that was released yesterday. So now all fire stations in our department can see through a video what they should be doing when they encounter a potential COVID-19 patient. And what they should be doing is asking the questions. Instead of all 4 people approaching the patient, 4 people from an engine company or 2 people from an ambulance, we only have 1 person suit up in the proper EMS protective gear, which is goggles, the respirator, a gown, and gloves. They immediately pass the patient a surgical mask, which looks like this. The best thing you can do to minimize exposure is to provide a mask to the patient. And then while our members are wearing respirators like this is an N95. We'll talk about this in a minute. After that, we go through the questioning. We load the patient on the gurney and we transport with 1 person in the back, still fully suited up in the protective equipment. And we transport to the hospital, and then we decontaminate the back of our ambulance using a 10% bleach solution with water. In that circumstance, the CDC has determined that that's a low risk to first responders, and there's no need to take any additional steps. Our people are instructed how to take off their gear in a fashion that doesn't contaminate anything else, put it in a biohazard waste bag, and that's disposed of properly. So that's what we're doing in terms of protocols and procedures. The next area is number 3 is what additional PPEs are firefighters wearing? Well, I talked about the N95. As you may have heard in the media, there is a lack of N95s across the country. We have procured enough supplies for the next couple weeks to ensure all our firefighters have the necessary respirators on their personal body. In fact, we've assigned 1 per firefighter. Once they become contaminated, we issue them another one. And by reducing the number of people that suit up when they encounter a patient, we're able to extend our supplies longer. So we're in good shape in terms of respirators, and we're putting in orders every day to maintain our supply. The question I have here is, are these masks tested by OSHA? And the answer is no. NIOSH regulates the N95. In fact, we were using the P100s, which are higher level. We've run out of those, but we have plenty of N95s, and these are NIOSH approved. The next question is, what is the status of the supply of PPEs down to the stations? Like I said earlier, our supplies are very robust at this time. We've empowered our battalion chiefs. We have 14 battalions within the city of Los Angeles. They are the control point. Within each battalion, there's 10 to 12 fire stations. If at any time they run low on any necessary supplies, we send them an order from our shops to that battalion, and they immediately distribute those supplies. So we're actually in really good shape in terms of that area. Category number 4. What happens when a firefighter paramedic is exposed to a potential COVID-19 patient? Well, like I told you earlier, as long as we're wearing the PPEs, the personal protective equipment for emergency medical services incidents where we have a suspect or an idea that the patient may be COVID-19 positive, we will have the right gear on. It's a low-risk encounter, and there's no need to take any further steps as long as you're following our protocol. We've reinforced it through videos, through written documentation, and we continue that messaging to ensure our people are staying safe. Next question in this category is, how are the families being protected? Just yesterday I shot a video at a fire station, and I showed in the video the importance of observing a higher level of cleanliness standards. I've directed yesterday that twice a day we're going to wipe down all the touch points within a fire station. I instructed them to do that in the morning as well as in the evening. And what I meant was, Everything from doorknobs to light switches to the equipment on our apparatus to all countertops are cleaned with a 10% bleach solution to ensure that it is as sanitary as possible. We've also put out prior videos reminding our people that when you're working out on a treadmill or a Stairmaster, that you wipe it down before you use it and you wipe it down after. We believe by observing these protocols within the fire station as well as on the fire ground or at an EMS incident, they're less likely to take anything back home. That's the goal, to protect our firefighters as well as our families who are waiting for us to return in the morning. The fifth category is firefighters have been seen having trouble shopping for food to make meals. How is the department supporting them? We have been using different mechanisms. There's been generous offers by chain food companies to provide food, and we are arranging for that to happen. The local markets have offered us access early in the morning before they open to the general public, so our firefighters can get in there and do their shopping. If you don't know, we shop for food that we cook that day, and we cook typically 2 meals, one at lunch and one at dinner. So that's why it's important that we have access to the markets. The supply chain is very strong. The markets have everything we need. If that changes, we'll look at other mechanisms, but right now our firefighters are doing great in terms of meals. If there's anybody out there who would like to contribute, I'd ask them to go to our foundation at supportlafd.org. That's supportlafd.org, and have that discussion with our foundation. And if we need that, we'll absolutely call upon you. The last thing I'd like to say is that there's a lot of uncertainty right now in this pandemic. Our job is to bring calm to an incident, to treat our patients, to ensure our firefighters and paramedics are protected, to ensure that their families are protected. We are doing everything possible. My position on that is to aggressively message our people on a daily basis. Sometimes it's multiple times a day, to take proper precautions, to implement new policies, and so far, so good. I do anticipate, I'm not alone, that it's going to get worse before it gets better. That's why we have to implement all these protocols right now. As we speak in Los Angeles County, there's 231 people who have contracted the COVID-19 virus. So we do anticipate it is going to escalate, but if we do what we're doing now in terms of protocol and procedure, we're going to be just fine. Thank you for your interest in the Los Angeles City Fire Department, and I hope to talk to you again in the near future.